Oh God. Now they're being like, hey, they're here. Hey, everybody.
Yay, Blackwell Army Unite.
Oh God.
Dave, go to window, look window, blow window. We love you, Dave.
Go blow the
I'm
window,
not
Dave.
blowing the
We want to
window.
have Joey here too.
He's not going to blow on everything he sees. It didn't move. Joey's stronger than I am. Abe might be coming.
Go blow Abe.
He might be coming at 10 p.m., he said. He's got a rehearsal. I am taking questions now.
There we go.
So, does anyone want to ask me anything?
And realize.
And this is on a delay, so this is going to take some time. I'm kind of worried they will talk spoilers in this stream. We will try not to. It depends how drunk we are by the end of the night. Will you synchronize Bestowers of Eternity with Abe and Rebecca? No, because that game does not exist. At least in my head, it no longer exists. So no, I will not be syncing Bestowers of Eternity with Abe and Rebecca. All right. Did you ever make more Blackwell cartoons on YouTube? Sadly, no. The Blackwell cartoons I made because when I was making Convergence, it had been a long time since the first Blackwell Legacy. It had been a long time since people saw Rosa. So I thought I'd make these little cartoons to try to get people back in the swing of Blackwell, to reintroduce the characters. But sadly, at the time, I knew nothing about PR or marketing, and I got those cartoons made. They were kind of expensive. And I didn't know what to do with them, aside from just post them to YouTube and spam a few blogs and press sites. So I didn't really do much with them. They didn't really do much for me. They were kind of expensive to make. So I probably won't be doing any more of them, sadly. I did what? Well, the animation was done by a guy named Wyatt Miles. He did the animation for Emerald City Confidential. So I had already known him. Is there a real-life version of Rosa I could date? Come to New York. There's a lot of people like her here, I'm sure. Janet rocks. So happy for you guys. Thank you. Janet. Sonata Fanatica says you rock.
Janet, you
Janet.
are. The internet says so.
Sonata Fanatica says you rock.
Oh, yeah. For what reason?
For what reason, she says. This is not a 30-second delay, so we'll find out in 30 seconds.
Actually, it's more like 2 minutes.
Hey there, Janet. Wave. Actually, I use it in
Hey, Sonata Fanatica.
Why Janet rocks? She always seems nice and cheerful on the photos with you. Seems you're absolutely happy. Come here, Janet. Come here. Hey.
Can't kiss
Thank you.
lipstick on.
Oh,
Okay, we can.
so that was Sonata Fanatica.
Hello.
Hi, Dave. Thanks for the games. Do you think that the... Oh.
Wow, we've kissed in the past.
So, yeah, we've kissed in the past. We're watching the stream catch up to our kiss. That's very sweet. Dave and Janet, love to see you two together. You guys, such a great couple. Aww. Dave, what's your most favorite point-and-click adventure ever? Oh, man, there's so many. I really like Loom. I think that game really holds up. Really inspired by Gabriel Knight, of course. Blackwell was always me trying to do Gabriel Knight. What else? Big and really inspired by Discworld Noir. That game has not held up at all. But I loved it when I played it. The notebook interface in Blackwell was directly lifted from Discworld Noir. Dave, I wanted to say thank you for getting Ben Chandler. He's my favorite. He's my favorite too. That's why I hired him. He's awesome. Did you at least get a lot of money when Daedalic Entertainment released a Gemini Rue and a box of Germany? Sadly, I did not. It didn't sell well at all. No, I didn't make a dime off of it. It did not sell well at all, I'm sorry to say, which is kind of what put us off translating our future games, because we had our best-selling game translated into the language of the territory that is the most beloved of adventure games. We think it was a slam dunk, but sadly it didn't sell well there, and it's really hard to justify putting all the money, time, and effort into doing others. But one day, maybe. Question for Janet.
Hello.
Janet, Sonata Fanatica asks, I assume that's how you pronounce your name, what is your favorite ghost out of the Blackwell games? From 1 to 4.
I like her. What's her name? The student girl.
The student girl, she likes Jamie. She likes Jamie. That's everyone's favorite. Jamie's everybody's favorite. Hey, yeah, Miranda here was Tiffany.
Hi.
She says hi. Will you appear as characters in a game?
I played the answering machine in Blackwell Convergence.
She did a voice, but I think they mean actually as ourselves.
Oh, okay, that would be weird and self-referential.
Which means we gotta totally do it.
Dave, of course, appears as every minor character ever, especially heavies in all his games.
I'm always the tough guy. In,
Yeah, it's the New York accent, which
the
really
New York
should have
accent.
answered and been the heavy.
Yeah. Janet, if you were Rosangela, how would you deal with Joey?
I don't know. Seems like she could blank him out a bit more. Like, I don't know.
Janet would blank him out, is what she would do. That's what she says. When Rosa goes to sleep, does Joey just stand there and watch? As far as she knows, maybe. I'm a big fan of the Crackwell games, which Francisco over there made. I was not insulted by Crackwell at all. It was, in fact, the funniest thing I've ever seen. And actually, Francisco and I were joking about it, and he's like, "Would you be insulted if someone made a game called Crackwell about Joey being smoking a crack pipe?" And I said, "No, that would be awesome." 2 days later, he made the game and showed it to me, and I nearly pissed myself laughing. It was awesome. So I was not insulted at all.
So yes, hi stream. I'm Francisco Gonzalez, and I'm the voice of Sam Durkin. And if you don't know who I am Grundislav on the internet. I made Ben Jordan, if you've heard of that. And I'm working on a game called The Golden Wake, which Dave is publishing. Sonata Fanatica. I don't remember, but was it you who made Spaceman in Space with Ben? Yes. Yes, it was. I did all the voice work and all the sound effects in Spaceman in Space. If you listen to our podcast, that's where it came from. I'm just a pimp today. Did I play Yahtzee's Chazot Mythos games? Yes, I did. I played all of them. And I enjoyed them all as well. They were very good. Sonata Fanatica wants to know a game with Dave, with you, me, and Ben. Did you say anything?
No.
Okay, don't.
I didn't say
I
anything.
won't say anything either.
No.
But Sonata Fanatica, you're a smart person. That's all I will say.
No one in NY ever recognizes Dave.
No. No.
He sits in coffee shops in New York working on Blackwell, and no one ever approaches him and says, "Wow, Blackwell, that's
Although a
cool."
barista once overheard me talking about Gemini Rue, and he looked at me and said, "Wow, I love that game." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Well, I published it."
Did you know that
Yeah, that's cool.
Roosevelt Island used to be Blackwell Island?
Yes, I did know that. Roosevelt Island, which was in Blackwell and Bound and Convergence, also used to be known as Blackwell Island way back in the day. And I wish I knew that when I made the games, and I could have been all clever and incorporated it into the story. But I didn't actually know that in time to make it part of the story, so it's too late. Yeah, no one recognizes me, sadly. Although at conventions and stuff, people do, which is awesome. Thanks for recreating the New York atmosphere so well in Blackwell. I've never actually been out of Europe. That's the amazing thing about New York, actually, is that it's so prevalent in media, like TV and movies and things, that it seems familiar. And I basically just created what I knew. Most of the locations in Blackwell generally are close to the places I've lived. So
That's why you can track his progress from Manhattan to Brooklyn by the game. It starts out with Grace Church, which is right near where we used to live, and then ends up with a scene in
Greenwood Cemetery,
which is right near where we live
right
now.
near where we are now. All of New York. I knew it out of Friends. It's always like
I never watched Friends.
in the early 2000s. It was always Friends and Sex and the City, and that people knew of New York from. That's always those two.
I've never watched Friends or Sex in the City.
The knowledge of New York is based on Sex and the City and Friends, and maybe Seinfeld. Where did you get the name Wadjet Eye from? Basically, I was really into Egyptology as a kid. I liked the Wadjet Eye symbol. I knew I would want to use it as a logo one day. I couldn't think of a name for the company, but since I knew I would use the logo, I just called it Wadjet Eye. So that's the short and sweet version of the story.
I didn't cry at the end of Epiphany because I knew I was going to end, but it is very sad. I like the speech that Joey gives Rosa when she's kind of, out of it. It's so sentimental. I love it.
Could you greet my cousin Anika? Hi, Anika. As
Hello,
of now,
Annika.
Or Annika, Anika, Annika. Hi. I will just say hi. Janet. Sonata Fanatica asks, what was your first computer game? Janet. What was your first computer game? What was your first computer game?
What was your first?
The first computer game I ever played, or the first computer game I ever wrote?
What was your very first computer game?
Played or wrote?
Well, do both, because there's a lag.
Okay, the first computer game I ever played was some educational thing on the BBC mic. Yeah, some computer game, educational computer game about spelling and starring a mouse on the BBC Micro. What? It was a mouse. I think it was called Mousetrap. Bye. That was the first computer game I ever played. And the first computer game I ever wrote professionally was one. I worked on some Formula 1 game right out of university.
What was my first computer game? The first one I remember really playing was I played Pac-Man, friggin' some restaurant when I was really little. But the first computer game I ever played was Wishbringer, way back when. Infocom's Wishbringer. It changed my life forever. My most favorite movie? Gosh, I don't know. There's so many. I don't go to the movies too much anymore. This is what happens when you become a father. I can't really say. I don't know. Were you ever so unmotivated? Never really unmotivated. There were times I thought that I wasn't earning enough money, and I thought I would have to give up. But then the next day I would have enough sales to make my mortgage payments, and things were fine. Things were very touch and go the first couple of years. My credit rating was certainly shot. Things are better now. I was never unmotivated to stop. I was never unmotivated. I was worried that I would have to stop because I love it so much. But I never was so frustrated that I wanted to. Fortunately, I never had to. What other job would I be doing if I had never started Wadjet Eye? I might have broken into writing, or at least tried to. I had some very boring jobs before I started this. I was working in the garment center. God, I hope I wouldn't still be doing that. I don't know. Honestly, I can't think of myself doing anything else. Bye, Sonata Fanatica. I'm not pronouncing your name right. I assume that means you're saying goodbye. So, goodbye. Thank you. Bye-bye. Everyone say goodbye.